Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. And welcome back to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is episode 35. So, today I do want to talk about the 1,500 points and getting there. There are only 14 players that have ever achieved that, 2 of those being defensemen. And what could happen this year, and which I really hope happens this year, is that Ovechkin and Crosby get to 1,500 points, both of them. I think Ovechkin's going to be able to do that. You still have about, he's got like 49 games. Yeah, 49 games left. And he would have to get 55 points within those 49 games. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's like you're at like 1.2 points per game about for him, and Crosby could certainly do it. Could get 51 points in 49 games, so he has a little less of a threshold to get. But 1,500 points, it's the equivalent of hitting 3,000 in baseball, or sort of. But out of the 100 plus years of the NHL, there's not even been 100 people that have gotten 1,500 points. That's really, really hard to believe in my mind, with all the players that came up as well. And I think that shows you how hard this game is. Aside from Gretzky being the only one to get 2,000 points, getting 1,500 is incredibly difficult. I mean, you have to not only be playing first line, for one thing. You need to score either 1,000 assists and 500 goals, or some variation of the two. And you have to have like a minimum of that almost, or you have to like really get up to like 1,100 assists or 400 goals or something. And it's not an easy thing to achieve. I mean, you have to be like either first line, or you have to be like the best second line player in the league. And you need so much playing time, and you probably will have to play for 20 years minimum for the most part, or unless you get 150 points over the course of 10 years, that's all right. But I mean, most people are not going to be Connor McDavid for 10 years and get 150, 160 points. That's not, there. But with over a course of 20 years, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. And getting 60 assists and like 40 goals for a consistent amount of time would certainly put you in that spot. And it's all right. And if you go down to like 80 points a year, you could still do it potentially, because 80 times 20 is 1,600. But it really is hard to get a point. And back when I was about 15, 16, maybe 17, Sidney Crosby was on a 26-game point streak. That's even hard enough in itself too. But it also shows you that you have to be as consistent as possible during the regular season. And then everything after that, you see, then it doesn't count in your overall statistics, or it's just playoff stats as well. So there's that. I mean, if anything, 1,500 points, we are going to see them again. And I'll pull this up for you all on what I have here of just the overall points real quickly. Let me just get this here. Share sound, optimize for video clip. Here we go. Okay, so here we have, I wouldn't call him the GOAT, but even though he's got this much, and you could say Jaromir Jagr could have had more points than his assists if he didn't play in Europe. But let's take a look at the 3 highest point scorers that are currently playing. It is Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin, and Ovechkin might overtake him at one point. Who knows? He could get on a hot streak and certainly do it, and Crosby can certainly slump. The next player to come close to this is Patrick Kane. Now, I think he's got, let's see, how many years does he have left? He could go for another 5, maybe 6 seasons. And let's do the math there. Okay, I'm going to do the math on my phone. Okay. So let's do 80 times 5. Let's say he gets there and he's at 400 points. That's another 1,600 points for Patrick Kane. That's 1,600 points for Patrick Kane, not counting any of the other 48, 49 games that he'll play this year. So think of it. So I do think we're going to see all 3 of these players get to at least 1,500 points, or maybe even 1,600 points, each of them. But let's take a look at the next active player as well. And it's Evgeny Malkin. So he could certainly do it as well. Kopitar is going to have a little bit of an issue. He's just a little older than Patrick Kane that 1 year, and he's got a little less than 1,100 points right here. So there is that. And the next player is Eric Stahl, but he's getting, he really is getting up there, and he's going to be 40 soon. He's going to be 40 soon, and he's already got 1,000 points now. I think he's already a Hall of Famer. But but not everyone is going to be that dominant and can't be. And it looks like he's going to pass Daniel Sedin too in points, and Henry Richard and those guys, and then we'll just see from there. Steven Stamkos was born in 1990, but for him to get 500 to that point, he would have to play another 7 seasons. So I think he could certainly get to 1,600 points or so. Patrice Bergeron was the most recent player to get 1,000 points, and I definitely think he certainly earned it with everything. Certainly earned it. But he's going to be retiring soon as well with Stahl, and maybe he gets to 1,200 points if he's lucky. But think about this. Think about this. Is that I count, maybe you're going to have you might have 6 players get to it, 5 or 6 players get to it, but to 1,500, but it's not going to happen. And I certainly don't see Kopitar getting to that point. Maybe if he would really have to be pushing it in his last few seasons, but it's just a little out of range for him. Like he would have to play everything too for him to get it. But Malkin might not even get to 1,500 points, and he would have 3 seasons left, and let's say he would finish just above 1,200. This year, and he's like at maybe 1,210. Let's just say 1,210, and then you've got another 3 years of playing. You think, I don't know if he can get 100 points or average 100 points for 3 seasons, and you get old too, and he's not like Crosby at all, and he's not like Ovechkin where he's just dominant on the ice. Let's take another look at. Let's go a little further here. Phil Kessel is going to be a very interesting case. He might actually get 1,000 points this year, and I really hope he does get 1,000 points. And Claude Giroux and Pavelski could certainly get 1,000 points. Tavares was born in 1990. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get to 1,500 points. So everyone else on this list coming up, yeah, Blake Wheeler, no. Corey Perry was born in 1985. I'm actually a little surprised by that one. Jonathan Toews is I don't see him getting to it. And Parise may retire next year. I'm not even sure if he'll get to 1,000 points. So I'd have to vote him out on that. We'll do one more, and maybe Saku Koivu, Jeff Carter Jeff Carter and Brad Marchand. Maybe he gets to 1,000 points at all. I mean, take a look at how many people or how many players right now are even in a situation where they could potentially score 1,000 points. And we may have we're going to have remember, this is a very memorable year as well. And this is a very memorable year. And Jamie Benn is 181 too. And that's how far everyone else is. Like, it is a steep climb. It is a steep climb for everyone else to come up and just be that dominant. It's hard. And now, if I was in the NHL and I have to get 1,000 of either goals or assists, I mean, it would be easier to get the assists to get to 1,500 points over the 500 goals. Even that's even tough. And shout out to Steven Stamkos, Crosby, and Ovechkin for being able to do that. It's not. That's an achievement in and of itself. You have to be dominant in 2 areas to get to 1,500 points. You're probably going to need at least 500 goals, or you're going to need 1,100 assists and 400 goals. And achieving any of that is hard. And remember, playing time is going to be your biggest asset, and that also applies to life too. Time is your biggest asset as well. And if you play over 20 years, it would be easier because you get more time, you get more seasons, you get more games, and you get more action. But to maintain it for 22 years like Ray Bork is most players aren't going to see that. Gretzky didn't see that. Mario Lemieux got injured too soon to, to play that long. And when he did, and then when he tried to recuperate from his injuries, he was in the butterfly era at the very end of his career, but he still managed to get over that hump, which just shows his dominance. But most players can't get 1,500 points in 900 games. And that's over 10 years. So let's do the math. 80 times 10 is 800 plus. Yeah, that's over 10 years. And he did play at the end of his, excuse me, his, in the mid 2000s, he still managed to find a way to play. So 82 times, or let's see, I think it was like 941 divided by 82. Okay, so in total he played about 11 seasons. Total. If you want to just do full 82 game seasons, he did that. Excuse me, but that's not an easy thing to do. Now, we're definitely going to see more 1,500 players, as I showed. Crosby and Ovechkin are probably not going to get to 2,000 points, even if they have. I don't think they're even going to crack Gretzky's assists. If it was only his assists in the NHL with his 1,963 assists, I don't think they're even going to crack that. But if any player ever gets to 1,500 points, you can take the waiting period off, and you can just go ahead, go vote them in. And I think they should be unanimous every time, unless they cheated to get there. Every single player that gets 1,500 points, whether that's a defenseman or a forward, I do not see why they would not be voted in unanimously. And if I was on the voting committee, I would put them in. I would put them in every time. I would put them in at 1,500 points, and easy, and that's simple. It's an easy decision. If you get 1,200 points, I'll probably still vote for you, but you're still going to be on a waiting period. But 1,500, and then, okay, I think that solidifies you, because we only had 14 of those players, and the significance of those players, really, very few, we don't even have 28. Yeah, it's still less than 24 players that have ever achieved that. And it's not an easy thing to consider. I just hope that that the NHL voting committee takes that up and actually just votes them in unanimously, both Crosby and Ovechkin. And if Patrick Kane, and when Patrick Kane gets to 1,500 points, I think you should vote him in unanimously. He's got 3 cups like Crosby, and he's just a little younger, but I think you should vote him in unanimously when he gets to 1,500 points. There may be a few as well, but like I've said before on this show, for this year, we're going to see a lot of milestones. Phil Kessel is going to get his 1,000th point. But think about it. He's played in over 1,000 games, and he's averaged less than a point a game. This game is hard. And I think Phil Kessel's ability to do that over the course of how many freaking games he's played is just a testament to how hard this is. If he gets 1,200 points, I'll put Phil Kessel in. I think I should just do it because he has the Iron Man of hockey. Even if he has to wait a few years to get in, I'll still put him in. But the difference between 1,000-point player and a 1,500 player is remarkable because most of them will have at least 500 goals, and to get 1,000 assists is just astounding. And I think Crosby's going to do it. I'm going to go back. I'm not sure in the stream. But we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, Patrick Kane has 768 assists, and Crosby has 915. Yeah, goals. Yeah, goals. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, there's very few players that ever even hit that mark. And if Patrick Kane at this point is at 768 assists, he might do it. And I think, and he's got time to get to 1,000 assists, and I hope he does, because it's good for hockey when we have players get 1,000 assists. It's good when they achieve 1,000 points, and I really hope we do see more 1,500-point players as well. It just shows that we like to see dominance in our players, and it helps players and players break records with 1,500-point careers, because they're out there every day working their butts off and achieving greatness, and that's what makes the game of hockey great. That's what makes the NHL great. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. Please rate this 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. Write a little review, please, if you will. And if you really like this show, please subscribe over to me at Substack. You can subscribe for free, or you can become a paid member and get access to bonus episodes, paid articles, and videos. So with that being said, have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next episode of the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. Take care, everyone.